deep into this, but the reason I called
I got to turn this down.
Live stream solar consciousness and stellar consciousness is because ultimately when you do these rituals, all the rituals that we're going through now that we're talking about in all of the videos that I've been calling, what
turn it down.
High magic lesson.
So, I'm not going to go through my whole journey, my whole story. First, I want to address, just in case anyone who comes here, man, witch talk is exhausting. And I don't even really like physical witchcraft. I do, but I don't. So I fucking figured out, I figured out and recalled memory. I figured out what the merging with the HGA is. Upon crossing the abyss, you merge with the HGA. The HGA is you. It's you, like 15 years into the future. Damien goes in, there's all this, I don't know, poetry surrounding the experience. When you go, I have not read very many occult books. Damien spent 15 years of his life reading occult books every day. Okay, so he's like shrouded in all the proper jargon. I don't have any of that. I just have the experience. Now, you do not have to be practicing high magic in order to have this experience. You just need to follow your instinct, your intellect, your intuition. Because surface level knowledge can get you into the experience, because that's what happened to me. So how it started for me, I crossed the abyss in 2009. I made a bunch of TikTok videos talking about what it was, but I didn't put it on here. And I deleted all those TikTok videos because TikTok is pathetic. And I'm just going to put these videos on YouTube and just leave them up for people who are seeking and who want to hear stories. So how it started for me, how I made contact with the HGA was, there's a whole complicated story about how you can call up the astral consciousness of anyone. But the way I had done it was limited. I limited my search. And this is how I met my husband, encountered my husband. But that story is going to have to be saved for a different video. I just have so much to say, and I got to just stay focused. So basically how it started was I started trying to come into contact with myself in the future, because I was not happy in my living conditions. And I wanted to know, like, my whole being wanted to know and wanted to make contact with myself in the future, in a time where I would be happy, where I would have the exact living situation that I desired. So that's how it started. And then in one of my other videos, I started talking about how I threw my entire being into this process, into trying to do this. I was a mute. I spent all day sitting on my couch, like staring at the floor. Like I basically dropped out of life in order to do this, because it was the only thing I cared about. Was knowing that I would be happy in the future. Or at least, in the very least, have these specific things. So in my other video, I talk about how in the process of doing that, I became aware of something that was aware of me back. This is a whole complicated process. Like, I have not started dumping this 4 months of my life out, because there's just a wealth of experience there. And I'll never be able to say it all in just an hour. So I eventually got to this point, sitting on my couch, staring at the floor. It was nighttime. And I was like, what's in here? Because I had done the work of shedding all desire for life, all of it. I had got to a point during this 4 months when I laid down and tried to die. And I shed all desire for life. And like, even love. Like, I was being guided. I've been hearing voices since I was 4 years old, and these voices were trying to guide me and talk to me out of the death experience. And just, that's a whole nother story in itself. So after experiencing all of these things and essentially clearing my mind, stilling my mind, the silence within the mind, to where there was nothing in there but black darkness, I had turned my gaze inward to see what's in here, what's in the mind. And it was in the back of my mind, in that darkness, I seen a light, like a white light, like a hole, like a star. And I was like, well, as above, so below. So this is a star. And I was, just, let's go into it. Can I go into it? Go into the light is another surface level information that can guide you through this process. Damien talks about how, like, after you die, you experience reincarnation, and if you go into the light, you're going to be spit back out into this world, which is really funny to me, because when you cross the abyss, when you go into that light in the back of your mind, when you sink into it and let it take you like quicksand, it's scary at first, because it was scary because I was like sinking into it. I had gotten so close that it was like a point of no return, and I was scared, and I was like, I might die. I might die if I do this. And at the time, I did not care. I didn't care. So I went in, and this is what happened. Which is funny, because Blavatsky describes this process in the first book of The Secret Doctrine, in the proem, before she starts talking about the stanzas. She describes this fucking process. So anyway, what had happened was I had like left my body behind. Like, I had left this, it wasn't this house, but I had like left everything behind. And all I was aware of was nothing. I could see darkness. But I knew that I was with myself, and I could hear myself talking, and I could hear someone else talking to me, and I could feel that I was moving. I could see that we were walking. And the last thing, the only thing there was left to do after I had realized that I was in my own body, somewhere else in time, was to open my eyes and to see it. So I opened my eyes. I reawakened within my own self, 14 years into the future. And I seen it, and I was there, fully there. And like, it's weird, because in my memory I have just like they talk about crystallizing the aura. When you cross the abyss and you awaken within your own self, because that's what your HGA is. Damien talks about how it's the demiurge, it's the God of the Old Testament. It's you. It's literally you. I was just like encased. And this is where that, when they show pictures of like Christ or whatever, and they have that silver light behind them. When you wake up, when you have this experience, when you wake up into yourself, reawaken into your own self, your physical self, you're gonna see this silver light surrounding you, because your consciousness, that consciousness that you had projected ahead into the future, into your own self, that consciousness is you in this moment now, but you have projected it 20 years into the future. into your own body. Okay? Your physical body is just the physical layer of your aura. You are the Atman. You are the consciousness. Now, like, your Atman, your being, is in this present moment now. But your consciousness is fully awake 20 years in the future with yourself. And it creates this silver light, like this astral bubble, right? That's how you crystallize the aura. It happens when you cross the abyss, but not just the crossing. It happens when you open your eyes and awaken into that moment. And the weird thing was that I had been experiencing like almost a day, like the whole experience. I crossed over finally. My timeline's caught up. And I had this experience a couple months ago. And I was with my husband, exactly where I wanted to fucking be. Living alone with my daughter, exactly where I wanted to be, exactly. Whenever, because it won't last forever, but it'll go on for a long time. You'll think it's a dream before you open your eyes. You'll be like, it'll seem like a dream, but it's not a dream, because once you open your eyes, you're gonna, like, when you're in the darkness and you're feeling your body move around and hearing, for you it could just be the sounds of somebody washing dishes, the sound of somebody listening to music. But you'll feel yourself moving, and then once you open your eyes into that moment, you'll know it's not a dream. You'll know it's real life. But it's so foreign because it's 20 years into the future. It is its own experience. It's not a dream. It's not the present moment. It's like something else. It's something else. But when it was over and my consciousness went back into that present moment, after that, like, once you cross the abyss and you merge with the HGA yourself, when you merge with yourself like that, it's gonna, like Damien says, Crowley says, it creates an oasis. That oasis, when you come back, the oasis that is created it makes the world that you're in feel like Eden. And like, the only reason I can describe it as feeling like the Garden of Eden is just because I'm a Westerner and I was raised with Christian iconography and Christian ideology. It's just like this state of just like peace and just like knowing it, just like awareness, and like the whole world, like where you live, like your home, where you are in that moment is the only thing that came to mind to describe the way things felt was Eden. But like, my story is a little tainted because I didn't know what I had done. I knew that I had done something, but I was like, I don't know what just happened. And I immediately I ended up getting really angry because I didn't have any guidance. I knew that I had just experienced the enlightenment experience. I knew I had done something important, but I was mad because there was no one around to be like, holy shit, you did this thing. And I didn't know what I had done. And I kind of fucked off that whole experience of living in Eden by being angry. Show. But anyway, that's the end of my story. That's for me, because I've only read 2 occult books ever my whole life. Damien's books, and then I read Crowley's thesis. I've been reading Crowley's thesis for like 15 years. I'm still not done with it. And then I've read a little bit of The Secret Doctrine by Blavatsky. Only a couple things. Enough to know that Buddhism is just the wisdom religion, essentially. But that's it. That's it. That's crossing the abyss, and that is merging with your HGA. And now I don't know what to fucking do with myself or my life.